Okay, we're starting a brand new Mishnah. By the way, just to mention, there are those that learn a different girsa. I think we had this a couple of years ago. There are certain different girsas and different Mishnayos. Some put it as one Mishnah, some put it as two Mishnayos. So whatever it is, we are holding over here in Mishnah Hey. Perek Vov, Mishnah Hey, the fifth Mishnah. Again, in certain girsas, it will be together with Mishnah, the next Mishnah, or the one before, whatever it is. So let's go. Very interesting Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Al tevakish gedula la'atzmacha. Don't seek greatness for yourself. V'al tachmoid kovoid, and do not desire honor. Yose milimudcha asay, more than your learning, you should do. V'al tis'avel shulchonom shel sorim, don't crave the table of princes. Why? Sheshulchoncha godol m'shulchonom, your table is greater than their table. The chisrucha godol mikisram, and your crown is greater than their crown. V'neman hu lebal malach again. V'neman hu bal malachtacha, and the master of your work is believed she'ishalem lecha schar pu'ulosecha, and he's trusted to pay for everything that you did. Obviously referring to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Now there's a lot in this Mishnah. At the beginning of this Mishnah begins the idea of don't, seek gadlus for yourself, don't look for honor. Do more than what you learn, and don't crave what other people have, even if it may seem on the outside that they have more than you, that they're more prestigious than you. It's a mistake, because actually yours is greater. Now obviously we're referring to Torah, that's a double poshet ad ma'od. In fact, in the Sefer Chazdei Avos, the Ben Ish Chai brings down that these specifically in the Mishnah that he mentions are in an order. First, a person has to avoid seeking. That means actively working to get covered, to get honor. The second thing is you should try not to desire it even in your heart. And the third madrega is to get yourself away from all cravings of glory and of kings. So it's madrega, says the Ben Ish Chai, of what a person is trying to reach in this world. Now the Mishnah says that you should not desire honor, and more than your learning you should do. Now these are kind of like two separate things, but within the same Mishnah, right? So what's going on? How can, first of all, a person accomplish or do more than he knows? In other words, the Mishnah says, do more than you know. Or the Lashon of the Mishnah, more than you know, do. Well, I can't really do more than I know. I can only do what I know. I can't do more than what I know. There is actually a Mishnah, by the way, in the first paragraph that's very similar to this, right? Which we're not going to go into at this moment of time. Okay? The Mishnah talks about it in Pirkei Gimel, Mishnah Yud Aleph, where it talks about the idea when if a person does more than his chokhmah miskayemes. How can you do more than your chokhmah? Famous Rabbeinu Yonah over there, but over here we're going to learn a very interesting idea of what exactly does this mean. So there are a few mahalchim over here to explain. Number one, when a person has, and this is a very important insight, when a person has a desire to do more, then the Rabbeinu Shalom helps him to go and do more than he needs to do. It's similar to the Gemara in Makkas, right? You're familiar with the Gemara in Makkas, right? The Gemara says, Daf Yud, says Pinchas, there's a Marsha. What is the Marsha? You saw the Marsha, right? When a person wants to do the right thing and he's desperate to get to the right direction, two malachim will come and help him, and they will direct him to his destination. So the first mahalach in this Mishnah is what do you mean do more than I know? The answer is desire it. Because if you desire, Hashem will help you and lead you over there. There's a Zoya Kodesh. The Zoya Kodesh explains that when a person really desires to do the right thing, the Rebbeinu Shalom puts him in the right situation that he will mimela do the right thing. And then there's another mahalach from the Chassid Yavitz. The Chassid Yavitz gives another answer. He says, when a person is makabel on himself, maybe we'll talk about this by Shavuos, because it's the Siva Shalom in Slanim. The Siva Shalom talks about it in the beginning shtickle on Shavuos, a beautiful mahalach. He talks about the idea when a person is makabel on himself, such an amazing thing, that when you're makabel on yourself, that to do something, the Rebbeinu Shalom makes out as if right now you have the schar. One of the examples, by the way, all familiar, is in Rashi. Rashi brings when Klal Yisrael were leaving Mitzrayim, the famous kasha is, what schos did Klal Yisrael have to leave Mitzrayim? They had no schos. The answer is because they were were going to Makabel the Torah? And everybody asked, what do you mean they were going? They didn't yet. The answer is because they were going to Makabel the Torah, Hashem gave them the schar as if they were Makabel the Torah, and Mimela they had the schos now to leave Mitzrayim. Therefore, says the Chosid Yavitz, when a person really wants to make kind of mitzvahs, let's say, for example, a guy, he doesn't know all Hilchos Shabbos. It's very hard. You have to learn all Hilchos Shabbos. It can take time. It took me, Baruch Hashem, a whole bunch of years. It could take time. You could get there 100%. You'll get there. If you want, you'll get there. But let's say a person says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to learn all of Hilchos Shabbos. I'm 18 years old. I'm 20 years old. Whatever it is. What do you want from me? I'm doing it slowly. I'm going to share. I'm coming to Halacha share. I'm learning my Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. I'm learning Shabbos the kitchen. Whatever it is that I'm doing in order to know Hilchos Shabbos. But I'm not there yet. But I really want to do it. I really want to know Hilchos Shabbos. Said the Chosid Yavitz, Be'etzem Mitzvah Rabbeinu Yonah, and Pirkei and Hilchos in Pirkei Avos also. That says the same thing. When a person is makabel, he gets it now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him the sky right now. Mimela, do more than you know, means desire it, want to do it, be makabel to do it, and Mimela, the Rabbanu Shalom will definitely help a person in that situation over there. Now, the other thing that the Mishnah talks about is don't be jealous. Don't be jealous of the keser of others, of kings and things like that, right? Which is also, by the way, a very important yesod. At the end of the day, actually, this is an interesting idea, because the truth is, we know that our Keser, our crown is greater than theirs, our table is greater than theirs. As you look at a king, you look at a wealthy person, you look at a successful person, you're like, oh wow, I wish I was like him. Such a shame. No, never ever think that way. You're sitting and learning Torah, you're doing Hashem's Ratzon, you're doing the mitzvahs, you're doing chesed, whatever it is that you're doing, you are doing something greater than anyone else could imagine to do, right? If, for example, the mitzvah of tefillin is a very good simon. Why? The tefillin on the arm represents action, because the arm is what generally we do things with, right? It represents action. And it's to remind us that our actions have to follow the teachings of the parchment that is on our arm, right? Because that's all the mitzvahs. Now, the tefillin on the head represents chokhmah, represents intellect, which basically means our intellect should be directed to the parchment or to that which is written inside the parchment of our tefillin. Now, listen to this. The tefillin on the arm, we put on our tefillin shayad before we put on our tefillin sharosh, correct? And when we take off our tefillin, we take off our tefillin sharosh and then take off our tefillin shayad, which means it's the last one there. It's the first one on and the last one off, which means we wear it longer than the tefillin sharosh, symbolizing our Mishnah that our actions of doing the actual mitzvahs should exceed our knowledge of the Torah. Isn't that a beautiful idea? But Al Koponim, think about the kings and the rulers of all previous years, right? You've heard history in different places. Some of you have been to different places, whether with yeshiva or whatever. Maybe Mr. Shem, you stick around, you'll come with more trips with yeshiva. You'll see the most incredible things of how all these kings that were the greatest kings in the world, they're gone now. There's nothing left of them. But yet Klal Yisrael are here, the Torah is here, and Talmid Chacham is here, which is important. As the Rambam says in Hilchos Talmud Torah, that Keser Torah is the greatest thing in the world. Keser Torah is greater even than Keser Malchus. For Kol Shekain Keser Ashivus. There's no question whatsoever. Which is why the Gemara tells us in Eruvin Pei Vavam and Aleph that even though Rebbe was Machabed Ashirim, but he only did it as a Chumrah. It wasn't Mekadin. He was Machabed rich people, not because he had to. Because rich people, of course, you have to give them cover. They're human beings. Of course, you have to Machabed them. But the Gemara tells us he did it as a Chumrah, not Mekadin. Because really, the cover of Torah is much, much greater. There's a Lashon of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, Devarim Chavav, Pasuk and Aleph. If Klal Yisrael, Rav Shai ben Marish Yeshiva told us this all the time. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh, that would say that if Bnei Adam Margishim, B'metikus Varevis Tova Torah, if Klal Yisrael would chap the sweetness, the geschmack of Torah, listen to this Lashon of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Hayu mishtagim, they would become meshega, they'd go nuts, they'd go mad. They'd chap more words of Torah, because they wouldn't even, nothing in the world would come anything close. Remember we said the Maisa from Dan Abramsky in London, right? During the war, he went down into the vault of the English bank in order to be safe from the bombs, and he was whispering Tovi Torah Spicha, right? Because at the end they wouldn't give up a word of Torah for all of this money in the world. We have to appreciate what we have. We have the Limud Torah, we have the mitzvahs, we have the relationship with the Rabbanu Shalom. That's greater than anything. We should never be jealous of anyone or anything, because our table and our crown is greater than everything. Mitzvah Shem tomorrow, next Mishnah.